Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into something pretty specific, but honestly really interesting, UO Respawn. It's a tool for Ultima Online servers, specifically ServUO.
That's right.
And our mission, really, is to figure out what this thing is, how it works, and, well, why it matters for server admins and players. We're drawing some key docs here, UO OpenAI, UO Respawn, and the ServUO forum post about it.
Good sources.
And the core problem it tackles, it's getting rid of the need to place, and this is a quote, hundreds, if not thousands, of individual spawners. That just sounds exhausting.
Oh, it is. Or it was. Anyone who's managed a ServUO server knows that pain. Spawn management has always been, well, a massive time sink.
Just placing individual monsters
At best,
everywhere.
creatures, items, everything. So a tool like UO Respawn, it's genuinely revolutionary for admins. It streamlines the bulk of your main spawns using a totally new player spawner system.
Oh, yeah.
Cuts down that manual work immensely.
Okay, so let's dig into that. The mechanics. How does it actually do this streamlining? The first thing that jumps out is the visual design. It sounds pretty intuitive.
It is, yeah. Very visual.
Admins select a map, then just left click and drag
Yep.
to make a spawn box.
Yep, that's the basics. You draw a box right onto the map where you want stuff to potentially spawn.
And it mentions boxed and world tile spawning, and you can adjust settings like for the box itself and the chances of things spawning in it.
Precisely. You control the area and you control the probability. Like how often common creatures appear versus, say, uncommon or rare ones within that defined zone.
Okay, that makes sense. But then there's this priority system. That sounds interesting.
Oh, this is really clever. So imagine you draw a big spawn box. Let's call it box 1.
Okay.
Then you draw a smaller box 2, completely inside box 1.
Right.
Box 2 automatically gets higher priority than box 1. If you put box 3 inside box 2, then it's spawn 3, 2, 1.
So whatever's in the innermost box takes precedence for that specific spot.
Exactly. The rule is simple. The higher priority wins. It lets you layer spawn rules with incredible precision without having to edit loads of individual points.
Wow. Okay. So you can have a general forest spawn, but then a specific clearing inside it with, like, different creatures?
Precisely that. Or a dangerous patch within a safer area. But what's also cool is what happens if boxes overlap but have the same priority.
They don't override each other.
No, they blend. They essentially combine their spawn lists for the overlapping area.
Ah, so you could get a mix of creatures from both boxes in that intersecting zone.
Yep. It allows for these really smooth transitions between different environmental zones or creating areas with unique mixes, all without painstaking manual placement. It's about making the world feel naturally populated.
And you manage this with a UI for timed, common, uncommon, and rare spawn.
That's right, on the right-hand side usually. And importantly, all your basic boxes start at priority 0. You build complexity by adding higher priority boxes on top.
Okay, that covers basic creature spawning, more or less. But it gets wilder, right? The custom spawn stuff.
Oh yeah. This goes way beyond just putting monsters on the map. It adds dynamic elements.
Like the different NPC types. I saw Town NPC.
Town NPC is great for just adding life. Random NPCs wandering around, making towns feel, lived in.
Like ambient life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And World NPC does a similar thing, but for roads or points of interest out in the wilderness, random travelers, hermits, that sort of thing.
Adds flavor. But the one that really caught my eye was Ambush NPC. What's that about?
Haha, yeah, that one's fun. It's an invisible trigger. Player runs over it.
Yeah.
Bam. Spawns a gang of random brigand bandits. Instant ambush.
Whoa. Okay, that definitely changes a casual stroll through the woods.
Totally. It adds that element of surprise, keeps you on your toes. Players love and hate that kind of thing.
I bet. And then there are effects. Tile reactive NPCs. Effect NPC.
Right. These are also invisible triggers, but instead of spawning creatures, they trigger environmental effects when a player steps on them.
Like what kind of effects?
All sorts. There are damage ones. Imagine suddenly getting hit by a wave of water from a wave effect NPC, or fire from a fire effect NPC. There's also wind, mist, poison, electric, explosion, even smoke effects.
So the environment itself can become hazardous randomly.
Exactly. But it's not all bad. There are helpful or just interesting effects, too. Glow effect NPC, confetti effect NPC, magic effect NPC, maybe a little burst of healing light, or just something visually interesting.
That really does make the world feel more reactive, doesn't it? Not just static ground.
Absolutely. It's a big step towards immersion, the world responding to your presence in unexpected ways. It's
Yeah.
not just about the monsters anymore.
And there were a couple of others mentioned quickly. Weather spawn?
Yeah, that link spawns to in-game weather, so maybe certain animals only come out when it rains or different creatures appear in snow.
Neat. And world spawn based on tile type.
Grass, snow, swamp tiles. They can have their own default creature lists. Makes sense, right? You expect different things in a desert versus a forest.
True. And static spawn had a base 10% chance.
Yeah, just a simple way to have something appear occasionally at a fixed spot.
Okay, so that's the creation side, building these dynamic worlds. But what about managing it all? The admin tools.
Right, because making it is one thing, keeping track of it is another. Your Respawn has some great tools for that.
Like the spawn heat map. That sounds cool.
It is pretty cool. You toggle it on, view spawn ono off F, and you see players moving as large colored lines,
Okay.
and then you see smaller dots in the same color popping up around them. Those dots are the spawns that specific player actually generated as they moved.
So you can literally see the system working in real time per player.
Yep. Great for debugging or just understanding how spawns are behaving in different areas. You use the push respawn stats command to generate that data.
But what about older spawners?
Yeah.
Like XML spawners people might still use.
There's a view for that too.
So-
Spawners. Toggle it on and it shows green boxes over your traditional XML or normal spawner locations, showing their range. The actual spawner object is in the center.
So you can see both systems overlaid.
Exactly. And you can load those legacy spawners into the view using Gen Spawner List. Gives you a complete picture.
Let's talk settings. The settings data folder seemed important.
Crucial, yeah. You need to tell UO Respawn where your main ServUO data folder is.
Why is that?
So it can automatically save and load all its spawn box data directly into your server files. Otherwise, you're manually copying files back and forth, which is prone to errors and just annoying.
Right. Automating that makes sense. What about settings bestiary?
Think of it like an autocomplete for creature names. It holds a default list of all the mobile's creatures, NPCs, in ServUO.
Okay.
So when you start typing a creature name into a spawn box definition, it suggests the correct ones. Helps avoid spelling mistakes or using the wrong class name. Big time saver. Prevents headaches.
And it mentioned something about params lists, parameters.
Yeah. It means the bestiary list needs the basic creature type, like orc or dragon, not something like orc bob or dragon troop.
Okay.
It just needs the core definition without specific arguments or parameters in the parentheses. Keeps things clean for the spawner.
Gotcha. And then there were just general chance settings.
Settings chance lets you tweak the overall percentages for monster, common, uncommon, rare spawns across the board. And settings spawn has things like the default spawn range around a player, the max spawns per cycle, and base chances for water, weather, or static spawns. Lots of levers to pull.
And finally, some quick commands for admins.
Yeah, really useful ones. Push respawn forces a spawn cycle for everyone online immediately. Good for testing changes.
Okay.
Debug respawn turns detailed debug messages on or off in the server console. Helps track down issues.
And reload respawn. Does that require a server restart?
Nope. That's the beauty. It reloads all the UO respawn box data directly from the files without restarting the server. So you can make changes to your spawn definitions and see them live almost instantly. Huge for iteration.
Wow, that really gives admins a lot of control, doesn't it? Both for setup and managing things on the fly.
Absolutely.
So let's bring this all together. What does this UO respawn tool really mean for you listening, maybe thinking about running a server or just playing on one?
Well, I think it's a fundamental shift, honestly.
How so?
It takes server population management from this incredibly tedious manual job.
Placing thousands of spawners.
Right. Into something much more dynamic, intuitive, and frankly faster for the administrator. It frees them up
Frees them up to do what?
to actually design engaging content. Instead of spending days placing individual deer, they can think about unique quests, dynamic events, reacting to players, building a more interesting world. That ultimately makes the game way more captivating for the players.
That makes a lot of sense. Less drudgery, more creativity.
Exactly. And it's worth mentioning, this tool was made by a community member, Wilson, first released back in March 2024, and it's been updated since.
So it's a community effort.
Very much so. The sources highlight how things like user contributions, donations, they're vital for these kinds of projects. They fuel the innovation, keep the tool updated and available. It shows what the community can build.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And connecting it back to the big picture of game design, this system helps ensure, basically every tile in the game could have something interesting happen on it, making the world feel
with
Well,
comprehensive coverage.
right. But it doesn't stop developers from still placing specific handcrafted spawners for that epic boss fight or that unique quest creature. You get efficiency and flexibility, the best of both, really.
So UO Respawn, it's really about more dynamic worlds in SurveyUO. You've got the intuitive boxes, the priority system, blending, then those custom spawns like ambushes and effects adding surprise,
Mm-hmm.
plus the powerful admin tools like the heat map and the reload command. It's quite a package.
It really is a complete overhaul of how you traditionally approach spawning.
So here's something to think about as we wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
Consider how simplifying something complex on the back end, like managing potentially thousands of spawns, how that fundamentally changes things.
Yeah.
Not just how the game is built, but how you experience it as a player. Think about that ripple effect. When the creators have better tools, how does that efficiency translate into your immersion, into your sense of discovery, into that feeling that the world is genuinely alive and maybe just a little unpredictable, something to chew on?